Welcome to another episode of the OUT Podcast, where we explore the power of movement and how it shapes our health, careers, and lives. Today, we have an extraordinary guest, Macnolia, whose journey takes us across continents and into diverse fields of expertise. Hailing from South Africa, Macnolia brings a wealth of knowledge and experience. She's a certified rugby stretch practitioner, golf TPI expert, and a coach for the discus and shot put athletes. With a bachelor's degree in exercise science, Macnolia has also carved out a career as a personal trainer, helping people push their limits and redefining their potential. But her love for movement and adventures doesn't stop on land. Macnolia is also a certified shark diving instructor, guiding others into the depths of the ocean for thrilling encounters with some of nature's most powerful creatures. In today's conversation, we'll dive into Macnolia's unique approach to movement, sports performance, and what it takes to coach people at the highest levels. From the rugby field to the deep sea, she embodies the spirit of movement-based medicine. Macnolia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, awesome, awesome. I'm so glad that we had the opportunity for you to take your time out of your busy day to speak with me and just kind of give me a little bit of a background and the story of your journey to where you are today.
Absolutely. That's why we're here, to share and dive into it.
Absolutely. dive into it. So tell me, you're from South Africa, but I want you to just, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Quick little rundown.
I'm 27 years old.
Okay.
I know I'm very old.
You're
Born
okay.
and raised in Johannesburg, South Africa. A lot of people think Johannesburg is the capital of South Africa because that's where a lot of the history happened, but it's not the capital. But it's a very big place, especially for people like you who are from America, because you invest in Johannesburg. It's where they make the big bucks.
Gotcha.
Yes. So grew up in Johannesburg in an area called Eldorado Park. Very rural area, but we were fortunate enough to stay in a section where it's very conservative. So it wasn't as bad as the rest of the area.
Okay.
I grew up over there, did my schooling in the same area. I could walk to school in 5 minutes, which was fantastic.
Sweet deal.
Exactly. Okay, finished school in 2015, went off to college, it's called ETA, it's an exercise training academy. Okay. It's privately owned, it's not like a big university, it's very small, certain amount of students. Studied exercise science, went on to work with Techno Gym as a personal trainer. Happened to meet an American that I trained, and that's how I came here.
Oh, wow, okay, all right.
Yes.
It's, they always say that, a butterfly flaps its wings off the coast of Africa and you get a hurricane in South Florida.
That's very interesting. I've never heard that before.
I don't know if I'm coining the term correctly, but you get what I mean.
I like that, yes.
The point I mean is, sometimes you never know how somebody has an influence on your life and how things turn out. Very true. So how did you get into just the movement, the exercise? What inspired you into that direction?
Since I want to say about the 5th grade, when I was in primary school, there was always tryouts for sports. And our teachers believe that everyone is going to try out. Okay. So they made me try for long jump, high jump, and I'm 5'11". I was always a heavy kid, and I could never do those things. And they kind of just were like, you know what, we're going to throw you into something where you have to run people over and throw things. And at first I was like, I can't do that. And then I tried out for shot put, discus, hammer throw. I tried out for javelin, didn't go too far with that. And then tried out for rugby. And I was like, this is amazing. But funny story, my mom told me when I was maybe 10 years old, my brother and I were playing in the backyard, and I started swinging him around, and I threw him across the backyard at 10 years old. And she's like, you're going to be a thrower. So when I told her, Mom, I'm doing throwing sports at school, she was like, I know. And I'm like, how did you know? And she shared the story with me.
She could see it.
Yes, and that's kind of how it started. Okay. I started getting good at it. We have something called a district level in South Africa where you can't, I want to say in South Africa, the country itself, different parts. You guys call it states, we call it provinces. So different provinces compete to be the best in South Africa. Okay. So I managed to get to the best top in South Africa, but I wasn't fortunate enough to have a coach. So I started YouTubing things, how to train for discus, how to train for rugby, how to stretch for it, what to eat. And my mom's like, you're not going to go anywhere with this. You need more help, but you can't do it by yourself. We don't have the resources for this. And from that day, I made a promise that if I can't help myself succeed in my experience here, I'm going to help someone else.
Right.
And that's kind of how I got into fitness.
Okay. What I find interesting also is that you're using YouTube University.
I know.
You know, acquiring so much knowledge. It's funny because, YouTube, it's almost like a blessing and a curse. It could be
I
a black
agree.
hole, but it could also be like, like a huge wealth of knowledge as well.
True.
And like you're saying right there, you use it for its good. Kind of propel
Yes.
yourself into a good direction.
Well, my mom, she was, keeping an eye to see what I'm using it for. So I think it plays a part.
Oh, for sure,
as a child.
So parenting. So
Yes.
in reference to the culture, you see stuff on television, and you never really know what's really real. What's the culture like? Like when you see the difference between the United States and South Africa. You said that when you were coming up in school, everybody had to do something. Had to play a
Yes.
sport, had to try it out something, Like tell me, what is it that you notice, like really surprised you when you got over here?
I think the difference is unity. They call us the Rainbow Nation. Even though, there's different colors, different races, when it came to things like sports, and I'm talking about back in the day, not how things are now because it's changed, but when it came to sports, occupation, school, all of that, unity, everyone was pushing each other to do one thing, to be the best as a country. And I feel like that's the difference. For example, just small things like walking down the street. Everyone greets each other. Everyone knows each other's names. It's a small family. But in America, it's very different. You could greet somebody and they look at you like, this is a little weird. I don't know you. Why are you doing that? So that's definitely a difference in culture for me. I would say it's probably the biggest difference.
Wow. So the South African culture is more tight-knit, tight-woven.
It was. Right now, not really.
Oh.
Right now, it's like because of, how segregation happened, like everything, it's like everyone just went their own ways. Like they care for their own group of people now. But it never used to be like that when I was growing up. So I would say that I wish I was still home, to experience it, but at least I have my family to, kind of inform me on what's going on, because I wouldn't think that I would be happy to be going through that right now.
So what pulled you away from South Africa?
Opportunity. So when segregation happened in South Africa, how I was explaining to you, your roles are reversed now. So opportunities are very limited for people like me. So my mom is white. She was from Germany, born and raised, and then moved to South Africa at the age of 9. And she sounds South African.
She's been there long enough, right? Yeah.
Yes, and my dad is a black South African. So people like me of color is called coloureds. It's a culture. We speak Afrikaans. That's what the Dutch, when they came and they colonized us, they came up with this language called Afrikaans. That sounds like German, but it's really not German. Sounds like Dutch, but it's not Dutch. So it's kind of like in between those two languages. Okay. So when segregation happened, the roles changed in South Africa, where one group was more dominant than the other. And because of that happening, people like me that's kind of in between that margin doesn't have the opportunities. So my plan was to go to school for physical therapy. I've always wanted to do that. It was my dream. But I didn't get accepted in university, not because of school credits, not even sports scholarships, just because of color. So when that happened, I had to strive abroad. So when I met someone at Technogym that was from America who came up with an opportunity for me to move, I took it. I was only 20 years old when I came here.
Wow, that's a big leap at a young age.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, how do you deal with that? Like being in a culture, being in a nation where you're all in, in terms of heart and soul, and then at the point where you're making the transition into adulthood, like you're being denied what any and everyone should have an opportunity to.
Yes.
Like, how did you digest that?
I think because I was young, I didn't digest it very well. When I think about my mindset, how it's changed now versus when I was young, I think if I had the mindset now, I would have probably stayed. But, I took everything personally. And at the time, I didn't look at it as color. I thought something was personally wrong with me as to why they were not accepting it. And that's why I made the decision to leave.
Wow. That's heavy. It is. That's heavy.
It's a win and lose because I'm striving, I'm living in all the dreams I wanted to. I'm getting the opportunity, but I have no family here. So it's kind of like a win and lose for me.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Wow. So just bring me back a little bit to South Africa in reference to, the lifestyle. Sounds like everybody's very active over there.
Very.
And with all the different things that you were doing, one thing that I found extremely interesting is shark diving.
Shark diving. Oh my goodness. Trust me. It was never really something that I wanted to do. I was like, because I'm an adventure junkie, and I was like, what is the scariest thing I can do on vacation now? So go on Google and I look up things to do, scariest things to do in Cape Town, South Africa. Number 1, shark diving. And I was like, I'm not doing this.
What kind of sharks are we talking about?
Great whites.
Great whites.
Yes, the big great whites. We have so many of them. So many. A lot of tourists go over to South Africa just to see these great whites.
Really?
Yeah, so I Googled this and I told my mom, this is what I'm going to do. And she was like, it was great knowing you. And maybe I'll see you again, but take care. You can go and do that. So my best friend and I, he used to volunteer in safaris. So he's very familiar with animals. And he was like, yes, we're going to do shark diving. And when we got there, they had the cage and everything set up for us. When it was time to drop the cage into the ocean, nothing wanted to work. And they were like, well, we're not going to refund your money. And the only option is free diving with sharks.
Oh, my goodness.
And my best friend and I looked at each other and we were like, it took us probably like 20 minutes to decide. And we were like, okay, the worst thing that could happen is we're just going to get eaten by those.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Simple, right? Okay, no problem.
Maybe we'll just lose a limb. Who knows?
You're brave, man. You're brave.
And I was like, we paid money to come here and, this was a dream for me. So let's do it. And they were like, okay, we're going to gear you guys up. And I could see in that guy's eye, the instructor at the time, he was like, they're not going to make it.
Really?
I could tell in his eyes. He was like, I'm not sure they're going to make it. I think we need to just, call the rescue team in the meanwhile. And then the boat driver was actually like, you're going to be fine. Number 1, just always remember that when you don't provoke nature, it won't do anything to you.
Positive affirmations.
So young me, I'm like, okay, don't do anything. Don't poke the shark. Don't do anything stupid. Just kind of, live in the moment.
Okay, all right. Don't poke the shark. Living in the moment for me would probably be poking the shark.
And like how dogs are, they take off of your energy. So if you're nervous, your dog's going to be nervous. If you're scared, your dog picks up from that. And I promise you, it happens with animals. So I cleared my mind and I went in. There was at least 6 sharks that passed me. I was swimming and
no cage.
No cage. Just me in a wetsuit, flippers, goggles, a little tank here. And I was never certified in diving. So I know everything. It happens for the first time. But I took the little tank off because we weren't going to go deep in it. We didn't need that. Okay. The guy was like, just in case. And I'm like, we'll be fine. It's going to kind of be like, we're going to be on the surface and just look down,
Right.
And okay, so I went deep into it. I took the risk and there was at least 6 of them. The first one that passed me, I saw my life flashing in front of me. He went right from my right side in front of me. And it's like, as they pass you, the eye looks into you. I was like, he's looking into my soul right now. Literally. And then after that, I felt more calm because the first one didn't eat me. I'm still here, right?
we're 1 for 1 at that point, right?
Exactly. And I just kept swimming. And I promise you, they just went right by me. It felt so natural. Like I felt like I could do anything. Like I had powers. Oh, man. When I got out, I was shaking. It was a different story.
You came to your senses.
Yeah. I was like,
goodness.
Wow. I'll have to find the video. We took a video. I'll have to find it. It was very long ago, so the quality is probably not that great, but I'll have to find the video to show you.
Oh, my goodness. That is crazy. I couldn't imagine. I could not imagine. I don't think I'm that brave. I do not think I'm that brave.
I don't know. I just feel like, YOLO.
Okay. All right. Cool.
And then after that, I was like, let me get certified and, take people out there. Mm-hmm. And I got certified. There's different levels, but I just did the basic level, how to put people in the cage, what to do if there's an emergency, those type of things. And when it was school holidays, I would fly to Cape Town and that's how I made my money. Took lots of tourists. And what I can tell you is that Taurus, oh my goodness. Once they come over from the other side of the world, they're not going to back out. They love it. They
Really?
love it.
So they're adrenaline junkies too?
Yes, I think so. Imagine flying halfway across the world and you don't do it.
You turn around, yeah, but at least you get to come back.
Exactly.
But wow, I couldn't imagine that. I could not imagine. Wow. So like from a physical standpoint, like I don't know how to like, what's it like? Like, I don't know.
Physically how? Like,
like in the water, you have to be a great swimmer. You're diving, so you're free diving. My assumption is we take the tank off.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, very true. Well, how could I put it from a physical aspect? The water, first of all, is very cold.
Yeah.
Different beaches in South Africa, it depends where you are. So some beaches are cold, some are warm, but where the sharks are, it is ice cold.
Really?
So already that's like, I want to get out of here.
Okay.
It's great to, be physically fit. It really does help with the swimming, because I do believe now they implemented tandem shark diving. So you can go with an instructor and they'll stay by your side.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
So the sharks get a BOGO, right? They get one, they get two, right?
I know, but at least if you don't sign the waiver, the instructor will go in front of you. The shark can eat the instructor. But if you sign a waiver, it's you. I'm sorry. We brought you for some food and stuff.
Okay, all right. Oh man, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine.
Well, I can tell you though, I think because of the nervousness of doing this, at some point I felt like I couldn't swim. Even though I know I've been swimming for a while, I think it just, all that emotion takes over. You become so numb. So definitely get your head right before you do it.
Okay. So why is it that the sharks don't bump you humans and eat you guys?
I mean, I still ask myself that same question, because we everything they desire, right?
Yeah.
But like I told you, I really, really believe that if you don't provoke nature, it's not going to do anything to you.
Okay.
And also, I think sometimes, it's a little secret, but I think they go and feed the sharks before people go.
Really? Okay.
I really do. I think so, probably.
Well, those are the guys I like, okay? Make sure they're fed before we come to dinner.
There you go, It's kind of like they're just looking what's on the menu, but they can't order anything. So they're just looking.
I can't imagine.
And I think those sharks have been there a long time, and people have been doing this. I feel like eventually they have to become immune to it. Okay. I think that they used to the human interaction at this point. Okay. That's what I do think too.
Wow. Okay. Now, in reference to, in South Africa, because you say you wanted to be a physical therapist from that point on. What's it like over there in terms of the healthcare system and movement-based medicine? Individuals, recovering from injuries and things like that. What have you seen, or what do you notice?
What I can tell you though is that America is more advanced when it comes to exercise, but when it comes to nutrition, South Africa is more advanced. Everyone is growing their own foods. Everything is organic. So everything internally seems to be working, but because of opportunity to become a physical therapist, to become a trainer, it's very limited. And it's not an industry that's at the top of the market in South Africa. Because people I can do that by myself. I can cycle by myself. It's very active that they don't really seek a professional. They think that they can just do it off of their own knowledge. And our schools definitely implement something called PET, where they teach you about exercise from a very young age. Mm-hmm. They teach you about anatomy. They teach you stretching. So people just take what they were taught and they live that lifestyle. So no one really seeks for, professional help when it comes to physical therapy, those type of things, versus America. I really do think that it's a very top market here. But that's because everyone wants to look like something on social media.
Gotcha.
That's what I think.
So what I take from it is, it's just a healthier lifestyle.
It's a healthier lifestyle.
Health is a lifestyle.
Yes, exactly. It's something you wake up and you do it every day. Yeah. It's very normal for you to make sure that you exercise every day, whether it's in your own yard, whether it's going for a run, biking. Everyone's doing that. So it's a lifestyle.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So, not too many couch potatoes over there, huh?
No.
Okay. No, that's good.
No.
That's bad for business for me.
But, it might have changed. I think I have to go home to see. It might have changed. Who knows? This new generation.
Oh, man. All right. So now you make it over here.
Yes.
So now that you are in the United States and have the opportunity to kind of soak up what the lifestyle is like, you still brought over your thought process of staying active,
Yes.
doing preventative care, things of that nature. So when you landed here and you planted that seed, what grew from it?
What grew from it? Definitely because the lifestyle is very much different here. It's not as active as I thought it was going to be. When it comes to food, I think that's the major thing that threw me off. When I came here, I thought I could eat how I eat back home. I thought that, if you get a takeout, it would be fine. But it seems like when you get a takeout here, make sure you go and work that out the next day,
Gotcha,
or else,
gotcha.
I don't know, it's just completely different. So definitely the whole food processing, the hormones and food here, it definitely did catch up to me in my first 6 months here, because I was like, okay, I'm in great shape. I just have to maintain. But then adding that food, all of that disappeared. I
Really?
gained probably maybe 25
Wow, in a
pounds
six
in
month period of
six
time.
months. And that's not
Wow.
even from just processed foods that you buy. It's me cooking for myself the way I did in South Africa.
Really?
Yes.
So you still maintain the same
The
habits,
same.
but it's the quality of the
The
food that kind.
quality of the food, yes. Like I would make myself like, certain steaks or like sweet potato this, like just simple things that I do back home. But I don't know, for some reason it seems like it's much more calories here. So I would maintain the same diet every day, still exercising the way I do, playing sports like I do, and I still gained weight.
So how did you modify that? How did you react to that? Get rid of that 25?
First of all, I found a South African store that sells all the good things.
Really?
Yes, there's one here in Plantation. So
Really? Okay.
they sell our spices, they sell a lot of the ingredients and things that we use. I did look for places where it's kind of like a farm where you can go and pick out your vegetables. I
Mhm.
found one in Delray Beach,
Okay.
which is fantastic.
Okay.
So I did that. My mom would send me my spices. So thank goodness, more flavor.
Mom's the plug. Mom's the plug.
Exactly.
We love
She's
moms,
the
right?
plug. Thank you, Mom, if you're watching this. And then honestly, I started moving more here, to be honest. Even working throughout the day, I work out at 5 a.m. every day. I work where I need to work. After that, I take my dog running. Sometimes I go hit a few golf balls or I play pickleball. I feel like I find myself doing more activity than I
Okay.
did back home to try and
Okay.
maintain that.
To counteract.
But definitely the diet aspect, I had to change that
Wow.
completely. Yes.
Wow. That's interesting. Never would have thought. I guess because I've been in the, and that's one of the things. That's one of the reasons I like traveling.
Yes.
Not just for the sake of traveling. It's for experiencing.
Exactly.
And
It's not just the vacation. Like
right.
you have to go and see how people are living. You
Yeah.
have to try all of that, and then you'll truly know the country and the difference from where you are and where they are.
I can only imagine if the food, you saw such a dramatic difference in what you thought was the same food that you were consuming here.
Exactly.
I can only imagine how it affects your body in different ways in terms of the thought
Yes.
process, in terms
Oh my
of
goodness, my mood
energy
would
level.
even change. Yes, energy level, biggest thing. Definitely the biggest thing. My energy level has changed so much. Like when I was eating good back home or just eating the way that my family eats, I always had energy, but I find myself like there's a certain time in the day here where I just feel so drained. I feel better when I don't eat here. Literally, that's how I feel. The less I eat here, the more energy I have, which doesn't make sense when
Right.
you think about it, right? But literally, yeah.
Wow. Oh man, you're throwing me for a loop.
Come to South Africa and then tell me about the loop.
Okay.
Experience it. Experience it.
I might
yes.
watch you shark dive. I might watch you guys shark dive.
Well, you said you dive too, right?
Well, yes, I'm certified. Yes.
So it's going to be so easy for you.
Yeah, but I haven't been with sharks. That's the thing. I haven't been with a big great white. They gotta be.
How about we try something this side that's not a great white? Maybe like a hammer shark or bull shark, something less aggressive, I guess.
Okay, all right, all right. Something that I don't look as tasty to.
You're gonna look tasty to everything in the ocean. They like us.
Okay, all right. So that's huge in reference to
Yes.
noticing the food. Wow.
Yes, I mean, like back in South Africa, I can have dairy. I can't have dairy here. I became lactose, which is very weird. I don't really eat red meat here. Back home, I can have my steaks. I can have ground beef. All of those things. But here, for some reason, lots of bloating. Like we spoke about the mood. I always feel tired, and I'm too young to be feeling like that.
Wow.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting. Now that you're in the physical therapy field, because that's ultimately where you want to.
That's the goal. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what are you noticing in terms of your transition? Because you're very active with working with different kind of sports, and I guess you're trying to parlay that so you can be like all encompassing. So you can take all that knowledge,
Yes,
all that experience,
absolutely.
and then put it all in one, so you can pretty much help and affect anyone in there. So what was that transition like? Because you did the rugby,
Yes.
golf, what else?
I did discus, shot put.
Right.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the golf.
Well, I'm not a professional. Let's start off of that.
Okay.
I just really, when I started throwing, I like hitting things too. So
Okay,
I was
all
like,
right.
okay, there's a sport where you can hit a ball, which was great. And I think it really started when I got into the country club life.
Okay.
At first, I was like, oh, maybe this is not for me. And then I started playing it, and I just felt like it felt great, but I felt like the concentration, the mental side of golf is what I really liked, to be honest. So that's kind of what drew me into it.
Okay.
So that's basically how it started. Started watching videos, of course. Everyone knows Tiger Woods. From a young age, I've always known him, but I didn't care what he was doing. But as soon as I came here, I'm like, I care. Let me see what this guy is doing to be this great. Because even after you enjoy doing this sport for fun, there comes a time where you become competitive and you're like, I need to be better than that person. I want to win. Like, it feels great. And then I got myself a TPI coach. So a Titleist Performance Institute, that's what they call it. But it's basically using, our exercise knowledge, using rehab, all of those, shaping it into a program to help someone's body mechanics to basically be able to hit a ball further. That's what it is in simple words.
Gotcha.
So I had a coach. He taught me how to hit the ball, how to play. And that's how it started. I was like, I'm actually good at this. And that's how I got into it. And then, of course, working in a country club life, everyone plays golf. So I was like, maybe I should get certified in TPI and start, implementing it into what I'm already doing. And that's how I got in.
Wow. What is the biggest thing you notice in terms of, because I've tried to play golf myself.
Yes.
And I'm terrible. So
I'm sure you're not.
No, I'm sure I am.
You're probably just not keeping your head down. That's the number one problem we all have. We're not keeping our heads down.
Really?
We bring, everything right here, and then we lift the head to see if the ball's going by.
Yeah, you want to see what you're doing.
Nope. You need to keep that head down.
Okay. All right. Well, so your number one thing is, if you want to improve, one thing for individuals, they want to know if they want to improve their golf game is just like keeping your head down.
I would say work on your hip flexors, because everything comes from the hip, driving the ball. People think, oh, I'm strong in the arms, I can swing further. Everything comes from the hips. It's all about driving the ball through. So the mechanics of how the hip flexors are working will shoot that ball really far. So get good hips.
All right. So core. So we're transferring the energy from the core areas. What you're referring to.
Yes, exactly. Everything's coming over there. Yes, which is completely different from me, because all the sports I did, you need to have a strong lower body. Everything is building. All the power comes from, all of the big muscles in the lower body, and then you just release it. And then golf is kind of like the opposite of it. I assumed I was going to be very good because of the sports I did, but I lied to myself until I played.
And I think that's the reason why I am not so great at the golf, because I realize, in my ignorance, that the being fast, being strong, and just going hard does not translate to the golf game.
No, it really does. Keep your head low and use your hips to drive the ball.
So it's a little bit of power, but a lot of finesse.
Yes, exactly. If that was the way to put it in English, perfect.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Another foreign language.
All right. Nice.
Yes.
So what else did you notice when working with these individuals to improve their golf game?
In terms of what?
Just overall, because you're working with, as a TPI,
yes,
as a TPI expert, what are other aspects or quick tips that you can give the individuals to help them progress, their golf game to, just get better, even if it is just to hit the ball straight, because I never get the ball straight. Never.
It depends on your position, because that's the same thing that happened to me. I would stand right straight, with the ball, feet shoulder width apart, everything hips aligned, and I would not hit the ball straight until I found a position in my body to tilt a certain way and I would hit the ball where I wanted to. It's very weird, but it doesn't work with just everyone. It really depends on you, which is a very weird aspect.
Okay.
And I'm sure a lot of people will probably be like, I don't know if that's true, but that was my personal experience. I had to angle myself just a little bit more, and I would hit the ball straight, literally.
So we have to get the individual to adapt to the game.
Yes,
Not get the game to adapt to them.
exactly. Yes, adapt to the game. And yeah, definitely the core. You need to have a strong core for golf. I promise you.
Wow. Now, I always imagine with golf, because you're always turning in one direction the whole entire time. Do you do anything for the opposite in terms of if you're always turning to the left or swaying to the left, do you strengthen in the opposite direction for?
Yes, actually. At first, before I did TPI, I thought we were only strengthening one side. But when I had a TPI coach, he was like, what you do on the one side, you have to do on the other side for balance. So always both sides.
Balance is so important.
It's so important.
And isn't it interesting how balance, it applies to just about any and everything in life?
Everything.
Internally, externally, chemically, physically. Everything, balance.
Emotionally,
yes,
everything, balance. It plays such a huge part in life.
For sure. So, everyone, stay balanced.
Please.
Okay. So, I do realize that when it comes to golf, and maybe that's probably the reason why I'm so bad at it, I just like whacking things, right? So,
I'm the same.
But, I realize there's also a certain, I don't know if I don't say a mental aspect, but there's a certain mental approach in order to doing well with the sport. So your breathing has to be right. Your concentration, your level of concentration. Like, what is your experience with that aspect? If an individual has all the physical attributes, what do you notice in terms of the mental in order to be decent at the game?
The mind has to connect to the body. Your mindset. If you come in with a clear mindset, if you visualize this is what my body's doing, your body's going to do it. That's my personal experience, and I've seen it with some of the people I've played golf with. A lot of people like, it's so boring, we should socialize. But if you are concentrating and you're like, if I position my hips this way, you're thinking this, you're not saying it, but you're thinking it in your mind. If I position my hips this way, if I hinge a little bit more forward, if I drop my shoulders down, am I going to hit it more? And that's how it actually works. Like, once the mind is like, okay, this is what the body's going to do, the body's like, I surrender, let's do it. And the ball goes.
Well, what you're saying makes perfect sense. And the reason why I say that is because there's been research that shows individuals who take the time to conceptualize their performance,
yes,
where they want to go, all the different aspects or steps towards performing a specific movement or movement pattern.
Yes.
They tend to get better results even if they're not actually holding, touching, doing the specific activity.
Very true.
So I guess mindset,
yes,
and is huge. It's huge.
And definitely preparation. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to go work out heavy tonight, or I'm going to go and hike a 30-mile hike, and then I'm going to go play golf tomorrow. No. You literally have to rest before your game because your body's been worked up from all these activities, and then you go in the morning. Some people don't even stretch, which I recommend stretching before golfing.
You hear that, everyone?
Yes.
Stretch.
So they come and, everything's all tight from the prior activity, what they did yesterday. And, they have their minds right and they visualizing what they want to do, but the body just doesn't want to do it. So definitely preparation.
Wow. Now, it seems as if I'm wondering if it's because of your origins and the thought process of what it was like growing up in a very active environment and community, right?
Yes.
What is it that you notice in terms of the thought process and the mindset, the difference between South Africans and South Floridians, for example? Or what would you say? What sticks out to you
when it comes
most?
to the mindset?
Yes.
I feel like in America, they fill you guys with like a lot of knowledge that's very close-minded. It's only about like everything crazy that's happening here, whether it's politics or whatever. I feel like that really gets to people mentally a lot versus back home where all the things, how it was back in the day, not now because I'm not sure, but things like politics, worrying about tomorrow, what you're going to do, all the stresses in life, all of that seemed to be more controlled. So it was easier for your mind to be at peace, basically. But
when you say controlled, explain that part. When you say controlled,
when it comes to like worrying about tomorrow, it comes back to the unity, how people stand together. For example, if you had bills to pay in 2 days and you only, because we get paid monthly in South Africa. Now
Really?
the difference, we get paid monthly, not every 2 weeks. So you really have to budget how you live your life. You have to budget for your gas, you have to budget for groceries, you know, all the expenses. So for example, if someone had bills they were worried about, you can go to your boss and be like, I'm only getting paid next month. This is happening. I need to pay this. And some companies have, you know, like a credit card where they would give it to the employees and be like, take care of this. We can just take it from your check or work and throughout the year and see how you can pay that up.
Really?
So there was always like, I would say like a shoulder to lean on, like supporting each other. So it made it very easy to go through this experience without worry. I feel like, yeah, there's just so much worry about everything.
Wow. So it seemed like they created a safety net that would
exactly
help
that's the word, a safety net.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, there's no safety net here.
I can tell. Yes, I've been here 5 years and I can tell.
Wow, that's interesting. What? Tell me a little bit more about the culture. I find that very interesting, and I think that in particular is going to affect, I guess, your day to day. If you don't have that heavy boulder on your shoulder, you know, that's going to affect how you interact with individuals, with your children, the community, the decisions you make. I don't know. That sounds completely foreign to me.
I know, but you know, so much has changed. When I went back home in 2021, it just doesn't seem 100% how it used to be. It seems like probably maybe in the last 8 years, like a huge toll has taken over South Africa. You know, segregation, we thought that that was something that died down after Nelson Mandela became president, but I think after he became president, it was slowly growing to what it is now.
Really?
So when I went home in 2021, it just didn't feel like there was this safety net. So it was, I noticed that the opportunities were different. They were only going towards more of the Black people in South Africa, because I have 2 younger brothers back home. One just finished studying cybersecurity, one is still in school. And before he started cybersecurity, I asked him, are you going to get a job? What's your plan? You're going to get into school? And he was like, I can't get into school. And in my mind, I was like, I thought that maybe just happened to me. Things have changed, but it seems like it's getting worse. So now it's like, there's a worry now. You have to worry if you'll be able to get into school. You have to worry if you'll be safe in certain areas. You'll be worried if I can get a job. So now that big worry is behind everyone's heads.
Wow. And, you know, you say that because they're not Black. And now here, you'd be considered Black. No question about it.
Actually, you know, I thought I would be until I went to immigration and they asked me, are you Hispanic or are you Black? Like, you don't seem to be either. And I explained to them, I was like, I'm colored. And they were like, colored is not a thing in America. You can't say that. And I was like, oh, but it's a race back home. It's on my birth certificate. We're a group of people who originated and, you know, in the Cape Mackay over there. We speak our own language. It's a culture. It's a way of living.
Right.
And
so nothing derogatory about it.
No, not at all. I mean, we love being called colored. We get excited because we know we're awesome people.
Right.
We're a good vibe. And I just decided to go with other in America, or just like a legal alien.
Okay, all right.
That's another option.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So your brothers. So now they're having a hard time being able to fit in with the society who's controlling that aspect of life, the economics.
Yes. Surprisingly, my parents still are too, because I was born in 97, and when I was born, my parents could not legally be together because of race. My mom being white, my dad being Black. So it's kind of like, you know, I was born and my mom had to kind of sneak away from my dad to see me. If they would walk in the street together, you know, it would not be a good idea. So it's very different.
Oh, wow.
Very different. And for, you know, a period of time in South Africa, it was great. No one cared. It was amazing. There was so much unity. And then all of a sudden it changed. It just changed.
What do you think was the catalyst? What do you think created that change?
It definitely started when Nelson Mandela was president. And his wife, Winnie Mandela, she started the revolution. Because I can tell he wanted to do things in a peaceful way. He wanted peace. But his wife, they actually got divorced after she started this back in the day. She was like, if Black people are not getting the opportunities, if Black people are not the only ones who survive, then no one can. And that's when it started. So it would be like, a small population of people who still have that mindset. They got kids who raise them in that way. The population grows, transfers all that information, and that's where we are now.
So it's like spreading like wildfire.
Yes, they weren't even born in the time, but they're so upset about something that happened to their ancestors or to their family, they will not let go of it. Wow. Yes, so you know how it was white dominant, now it's Black dominant. Yes.
Wow, can't imagine that.
And we are Rainbow Nation. We have every race possible, every skin color. So it's very unfortunate that that's how it is. Because that's what makes the culture in South Africa.
For sure.
Diversity.
For sure. Yeah, all the influences.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, I hope that hope they're able to find their way through the tough times.
I hope so, because we're such a good country. We have so much potential. So much.
Well, I'm going to pray for them.
Me too. Every day. So it's kind of nice being in South Florida because I feel like I'm just, I'm like you. Like there's no differences. I feel like I can get any opportunity here and someone will look at me and be like, oh, you colored, I'm not giving you that job. Or, oh, you colored, you're not going to get into school. It's not like that here, which is a huge blessing.
For sure.
It really is. A lot of people take advantage of it.
This is so true.
I'm very grateful, and I hope that I can bring my brothers over here so they get to experience it, because it's tough growing up under those norms. It really is.
Of course, no question about it.
Yes.
I couldn't imagine. Again, like you said, there's so many opportunities here. The only thing you have to do is just reach out and grab it.
That's the thing.
Put in a little bit of work.
And that's one thing I admire about Americans. You guys are very hard workers. If you want an opportunity, you're going to do it.
Right.
With us, there's an opportunity we want, but we're like, oh, my skin color, or this is not for me. It's only for that group of people. So it's all in the mind over there.
Mindset.
Yes.
Mindset is everything.
It really is. And I'm so lucky and so fortunate to be able to look at life from two different aspects.
For sure. So
fortunate.
For sure.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, I always ask everyone, like the pet peeves they have. So you've been in quite a few different exercise, physical, and sports aspects. What is a pet peeve? What's a huge pet peeve of yours? When it comes to your life's experience.
Can I say all of them? I can't choose because I've learned so much throughout everything. Like I really think all of them. Okay. Definitely.
So nothing sticks out.
No, I think equally everything. But I think it's because I got to experience everything that I've done, two separate parts of the world, and not just in one small little circle.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, wow, you gave me an earful, and I'm really glad you took the time to chat with me, and so everybody else can kind of experience a little bit of South Africa.
Yes. The next one is you shark diving.
Yes.
Should we start with the golf?
Yeah, let's start with golf first. And then I'll work my way up to the shark diving.
Very much, very much.
But you know what? I think I think I can do it. Give me the cage first. Give me the cage first.
I know you can. If you understand biomechanics, how the body moves, you can do it. I promise you.
Okay. I just don't understand how the being eaten part, but we'll get away. I'll work my way around it. I get the mindset right.
Okay, let's do that. We'll numb out the head before you do it.
That's right. So, anyone who wants to reach out to you just to kind of learn from your experiences, have any questions, they want good food tips and places to visit in South Africa, how would they be able to reach out to you?
On my Instagram, you can just type in _Macnolia. That's MACNOLIA, and then another underscore, and you can reach out anytime to me.
All right. So yes, reach out to Macnolia. Okay. Awesome experience. Great energy. And I learned so much stuff. From her, just listening to her. And seeing my own culture, but through someone else's eyes that has a different kind of influence, kind of opens my eyes up to different stuff as well. So hopefully she can do that for you too as well. I think experiencing different things, different cultures, different aspects of life makes us more wise, makes us smarter people.
Yes.
I think it makes us better people too.
It does. And that's what the world needs. Better people.
For sure. So you know what? Hopefully we help make you a better person today.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. You guys, thank you so much for listening to the OWL podcast. And stay tuned for the next one. You guys have a good one. Any questions? Email me. You know what I am. You know where I am. And check out Macnolia.
Absolutely. I'll be there waiting.
All righty. You guys have a good one. Later.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.